Are you just singing the song?
I don't want to sing the song. You made fun of it last time.
It was garbage. That's fine.
I'd really rather not. I actually want to do a good job with this show. Before you guys vote me off next season.
Okay.
Because we are doing that, right? Because the only thing I look forward to is knowing that I'll get to vote Dom off of the show, potentially. That's the only reason I'm still here.
Wait till he's 18, though, so there's no legalities that we have to worry about.
Nothing that we're doing about this is legal.
Anyways.
We're one step away. Fantasy football podcasts are one step away from digital cockfighting.
Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school. So you can feel cool. Give it to me, baby. Baby. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. This is Fantasy Review with Jake and Lou. I'm Jake. He's Lou, and that's the end of the mystery about who runs this show. And today we are talking Week 6 fantasy football. We're going to go through the waiver wires, pickups, and streamers, of course. We're going to do the secret stash. You people didn't listen to me last time because there's still people on the secret stash that need to be stashed secretly. We're going to go through our locks of the week, and then I got a few busts of the week. Lou, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, and I actually have the same thing that you do. When we get to our waiver wire pickups, I'm getting really sick and tired of talking about this guy, but god damn it, people just aren't picking him up.
It doesn't make any sense.
I don't want to keep talking about it, people. Wise up.
I'm going to be a little prophetic here because I'm going to go first, of course. I already wrote down.
You always go first.
We have. You're damn right I do. We have not talked about or shared our lists together.
No, we haven't because we just made them up in the last 7 minutes.
7 minutes. So I might as well just jump right in there because I already kind of know where you're going, I think. So the waiver wire pickups / streamers, if say for instance you play some daily fantasy, these are people you might want to pay attention to. My first one, of course, it's quarterback. I have a deep feeling that Lou is going with Brian Hoyer again, and if he isn't,
so many deep feelings.
He definitely thought about it. So I'm gonna go with a man that's only owned in 36% of leagues, and that's Marcus Mariota. He's playing Cleveland at home. Just came off a week where he picked up 12 standard league points on the ground alone, and I expect him to keep it going. I also expect Chip Kelly to put a shotgun to his temple right before kickoff, though, because he's starting Colin Kaepernick instead, and this used to be his guy.
Do you see Kaepernick? It's interesting that you bring that up. And Mariota, for me, I mean, just on that point, Mariota is such a gamble for me. I don't know. I can't. I don't have the faith in him yet. He's got a better matchup than
any of the other streaming candidates to my, like.
I would say
unless you're in a short league. I mean, someone like Carson Wentz or Blake Bortles, I suppose, against Chicago, but it's fucking Cleveland.
I would say there's one better matchup out there, but aside from that, you're right. It's still. I would say that Alex Smith, only owned in 25% of ESPN leagues, has a far better matchup with Oakland, considering Oakland again. Latavius Murray, is he on milk cartons yet? Where is he at this point? They have zero run game going on, and that's not because they can't run the ball. It's because Derek Carr is playing out of his mind. The Chiefs are going to be down early. He's going to have to find Kelsey. He's going to have to find Macklin. He's going to have to make some plays with his arm. So I think Alex Smith is a really good play this week.
And but usually I would agree with you, but I'm looking at the targets and stuff. Like Travis Kelsey is their most valuable fantasy asset through the air, and he has 50. He's the number 6 tight end. Like he's their number 1 option. He's the number 6 tight end in the NFL. Jeremy Macklin's the number 46 wide receiver. And then you have Spencer Ware, who's the 23rd running back. I mean, he's got nobody. Jamal Charles might come back and actually play. I mean, he was back last week, but only played he had 2 carries.
Well, Well,
Alex
right, you're
Smith,
picking
man.
up Alex Smith because you're in a 2 QB league, and Jameis Winston, who's your normal QB2, is on a bye. That's what I'm
Jameis
saying.
Winston
You're picking
is
him up.
owned less than Alex Smith, isn't
Which,
he? No,
which
he's
is
owned a little bit more.
He's 55, 56%, something like that.
Yeah.
But that's what he is. He's a QB2 because you've got Jameis Winston, or because you're not sure about somebody else. But here, let me go on that. So Colin Kaepernick, because you did bring him up there. Do we trust Kaepernick yet? Do we trust him? Because
Why
he was
should we
actually
trust Colin Kaepernick? Like, what has he done? What has he done in the last 3 years to say, yeah, he should be?
Well,
he should be
okay.
a
Let me
trusted
say this.
quarterback?
Do we trust him? Do you trust him? Not even in fantasy perspective, just in football. Do we trust that the 49ers are going to be more effective
with my kids?
Like,
you trust him to be like kindergarten cop?
dude, are you kidding me? He'll have
so.
those kids in detention for not doing the Pledge of Allegiance that fast, man, and I cannot pick them up late from school.
Do they send people to detention for that?
I don't
'Cause
know.
think
Whatever.
it's unconstitutional.
My point is I don't know if we trust Colin Kaepernick yet to make. Is Carlos Hyde going to benefit from Colin Kaepernick being back there? Do you think secondaries and linebacking cores are going to have to respect him more than they had to respect?
The problem with Chip
Blaine
Kelly's offense, it's 4 plays, just run out of different formations really quickly. There's nothing. He's not hiding shit.
Swing pass,
They're just
screen
trying
pass,
to-
deep slant, and curl route?
Yeah, they're just trying
that's
to,
it, right?
to outpace you, and it doesn't work. Their best fantasy wide receiver is Jeremy Curley, who was a punt return specialist on the New York Jets in his best professional season.
Ugh.
That's not cutting it, man. If they do some read option shit, maybe him and Carlos Hyde, because I think Carlos Hyde is their most valuable asset on that entire team with Navarro Bowman out. So maybe they can get. He might get some rushing yards, like he might get 30, but I can't trust him with ball security. I'm going to need 3 or 4 weeks from Kaepernick. Like, maybe week 9 against New Orleans, I'm thinking about it. But I'm not starting against Buffalo. That's for fuck sure. I'm starting Buffalo's defense, personally, because of this.
Jake alluded to it, and he said that, he did give it away. He just like he does all the time. He's such a whore. Jake gave it away that Brian Hoyer was going to be my pick, and he is. And people, I'm tired of talking about Brian Hoyer as a pickup. What is wrong with you people? I know you might look and say, oh, well, he's the 20th ranked quarterback. Well, yeah, that's because if you're using ESPN or Yahoo, they don't do a very good job of scaling for the fact that he didn't play at all in week 1, and he only played for 5 minutes in week 2. If you look at the past 3 weeks, he's averaging 23 points a game. Guess what happens if you take that and you look at the last 3 weeks? You know who's in front of him? Andrew Luck, Derek Carr, Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers. That's it. He's better than Drew Brees right now in fantasy.
He has 3 straight 300 plus. He almost threw for 400 in week 5.
Almost threw for 400
300
yards.
plus, 2 touchdowns in each game.
And
It's
no
crazy.
interceptions so far. No interceptions so far.
Is he still
is
dirt cheap in
outplaying Drew
daily?
Brees. In daily fantasy football, he is $5,000 on DraftKings. Guys,
Wow.
moving forward for the rest of the year in my DraftKings league, until the market catches up with Brian Hoyer, here's what I'm doing. Yeah, there's a lot of people that always like to stay away from those Julio Joneses and those AJ Greens, as we saw this past week. Both of them, bust. Whereas the week before they were dynamite. For the rest of the year, I'm going the heavy wide receiver 1 route with AJ Green and Julio Jones, and I'm using Brian Hoyer because is he going to go out there and is he going to have a 4 touchdown or a 5 touchdown Ben Roethlisberger game, Tom Brady game? Probably not. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Is he going to have a 5 interception game? Is he going to go out there and throw 3 or 4 picks and lose the ball 2 or 3 times on the ground? No, he's not.
No,
because
he
John
doesn't-
Fox
he
isn't
doesn't-
going to make him do that.
He's bald and has no beard. He's not. He's the opposite.
No, he's got no. Oh, dude, he rocks stubble like nobody's business,
It's
bro.
stubble, but it's not. I mean, don't dare call that a beard,
Bro, the ladies like the stubble.
His is shorter than mine. Mine's like a proto beard.
Daddy likes the stubble. Something good.
I get it. He's
Something
got that
good.
weird. He's got that weird scar he got from the Michigan State streets. That's not true. I have no idea.
Mean streets of Lansing, Michigan. But no, guys,
Yeah,
Brian Hoyer,
I do
seriously,
get
he
that.
is the single greatest. Here's something that's amazing. This was on Fox Sports earlier this week. There was a little write-up. He is the single most valuable. I mean, not like, again, he's not going to throw 5 touchdowns, but from performance to dollar ratio, he is the single most valuable player in the history of daily fantasy football. Guys, Pick up Brian Hoyer. There's no excuse that he's only owned in 18% of leagues. Seriously, if you've got Jameis Winston on your bench, you know what? Or because he's on a bye this week, because he's your QB2, you pick up Brian Hoyer this week. Guarantee you, he's going up against the Jags. He's going to put up 350 yards. He's going to throw at least 2 touchdowns against these guys. Brian Hoyer, don't make me do this again. I don't want him to be under 50% in week 7. Don't make me do this again.
You're getting pretty mad. And also, I think we're overestimating our pull on the fantasy environment.
Oh, that Matt Berry's a hack.
Moving on to my running back waiver wire pickup / streamer of the week. So we've been panning Ryan Fitzpatrick and his unworthiness to the beard like all season, but check this out. Okay,
he didn't throw a pick last week. I mean, got blown out by the Steelers, but he didn't throw a pick.
Yay. Matt Forte, okay. Matt Forte is the starting running back there, right? But he's so old, he remembers what it was like before the slave ships came. It's time to pick up Bilal Powell, who has 6 catches in 3 straight games, giving him not only the mark of the beast, but a high fantasy floor in PPR leagues. Not only is he a solid flex play most weeks, but now Eric Decker is out, meaning more targets are available, and if Forte goes down, he'll quickly be a top 15 play literally every single week, regardless of matchup. And if you think about it, 15 is just old enough for Donald Trump to hit on you in the food court at the mall. So,
well, I'm sick now.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I can't follow that up. Yeah, Bilal Powell, good pickup. Go get him.
Yeah, he's a good. If you want some stats, real quick, he's only getting like 4 touches per game on the ground, but he does have a pretty good per rush average, minus last week against Pitt. But he'll get you probably 3 points on the ground, and anywhere if you're in a PPR league, 6 points just in catches he's averaging, and then between 5 and 4 through the yardage. I mean, he's got 11, 13, and 11 points respectively. That's pretty fantastic. Still nothing?
No, still just
I just gave you some stats to kinda
still just really shaken up. Still really
You're really shaken up.
Shaken up. Did not think that I would hear a transatlantic slave reference this week. Guys, somebody who I've got to tell you to pick up is somebody that Jake was harping on a couple of weeks ago, and that's Fozzy Whittaker out of Carolina. Cam Newton is coming back, and Cam Newton we don't think is going to be at 100%. Plus, they're going up against New Orleans. Now, New Orleans is ranked 30th in passing defense, but they're ranked 32nd in passing defense against running backs and running backs on the ground. Basically, their defense shouldn't exist. It's unbelievable that they got worse. Here's what the Saints really should do, because their offense is prolific. They should do this. They should make an agreement with the Panthers this week. Okay, Panthers, you don't get to play offense, but every time we punt, we give you 4 points. I think that would probably work out better for the Saints in the long run if they were giving up 4 points per possession instead of the possibility of Cam Newton and Fozzy Whittaker going out there and running all over him and scoring 7 points per possession. No, Fozzy Whittaker, great pickup. He plummeted a few weeks ago. The guy was up at 65% ownership, plummeted after that terrible, terrible game that they had against Tampa Bay because people panicked and said, oh man, Derek Anderson, they're going to be stacking the box against Whittaker. He's coming in. He's going to be garbage. My bad on that, guys. That's why he was my secondary pick. This week, pick up Whittaker if you can. Really low price tag in daily fantasy, and he's available in 38%. Or excuse me, and he's only picked up in 38% of ESPN leagues.
Powell will be better this week. So my wide receiver.
I don't know about that one. Wait. Who are the Jets playing again?
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
Jets
matter.
are playing Arizona. They've got the 7th best run defense in the league.
Yeah, because Bilal Powell doesn't run the fucking ball. It's fine. He's Theo Riddick, but I think he's blacker. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. Also, they're both just as brittle. I don't know. He's just slightly darker hued Theo Riddick on a... I can't believe I'm saying this. Are the Jets better than the Lions? They might be.
The Jets are not better than the Lions, especially with Eric Decker being put on the IR today. The Jets are not better than the Lions, but I certainly think that the Jets are
coming back. Maybe.
The Jets are certainly better coached than the Lions are. They certainly have a better head coach.
People are talking Caldwell might be out before the bye, which is crazy. If they lose this week, he is fucked. Anyways, my wide receiver still on the Jets, and it's weird. I cannot believe I'm buying people on the Jets, but okay, I gotta stress, Ryan Fitzpatrick is awful. If he was a Jew in the 1940s, not even Hitler would have invited him to camp. Jesus Christ, Lou. Not even Hitler would have invited him to camp. That said, Eric Decker, like we mentioned, is on IR, and Brandon Marshall is only one man, and he's an old man at that. Quincy Enunwa, however, has a great name, a name great enough for a dozen men, and is already the 32nd overall wide receiver in the NFL, which means right now he's a viable wide receiver 3 or flex play in 10-team leagues every week. So he's only going to get better, and only Fitzmagic gets the negative 2 points for the interceptions. So like, it's fine. Like if Enunwa misses a fucking block on a screen read, it's fine. You don't lose anything. He only gets positive points. It's good. Also, I think he plays special teams, so you never know. Could work out.
I'm so sorry.
Still, this isn't going to get better. This is not going to get better.
Okay.
All right. Your shock needs to. You need to hurry through that.
You just need to hit me with a dead baby joke, and I will just plow right through it.
No, that was last week when we did the Casey Anthony joke.
Okay. Update.
Update. Grab it by the pussy.
Guys, pick up Sammy Coates, okay? He's become Ben's number one deep threat option. He's getting targeted.
He's Martavis Bryant.
He's getting targeted. He's getting targeted up to 7 times a game by Ben right now, going downfield. One thing to take a look at, he actually did cut his hand, apparently, earlier in practice this week. Right. I'm sorry?
You have soft cast on?
Yeah, he has a soft cast on right now, so they're trying to figure out what's going to go on with him. Take a look at him, though. This week, amazing, if he's in the lineup, amazing matchup against the Miami Dolphins. We all saw what happened with them. These guys cannot cover anybody. What's great is they brought in, oh gosh, his name is escaping me, the guy who Julio Jones ended up burning for 300 yards, who got fired by the Panthers, and then he got picked up by Miami.
Ben or whatever?
I can't remember what his name is, and we talked about that last night. I can't figure out what's worse, being fired by the Panthers or being hired by Miami. I don't know which of those is a worse thing to do.
Oh, hired by Miami for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you'd rather be out of a job than be working in Miami, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, guys, take a look at Sammy Coates. He's become, as Jake said, he's become the fill-in for Martavis Bryant. Extremely cheap in daily fantasy, also, but he's available in up to 56% of or 54% of ESPN leagues right now. Take a look at him, but be mindful. Watch that situation with his hand. Yeah, but again, we saw it with AJ Green. You can go deep on these Dolphins all damn day.
He has got the deepest goddamn hairline I've ever seen. Like, it starts here. Him and Brashad Perriman with the dreadlocks and nothing up front. You just gotta let that go, bruh.
Oh, man, LeBron would need like 4 headbands if he were in that
weird,
situation.
Right? Like, like he makes LeBron's situation look reasonable. Anyways.
Yeah, that's not okay, bro. Cut that off. Be okay with yourself, man.
Yeah. Your name's Sammy Coates. It's fine. That's an all right name. Also, second best hair on the team behind Antonio Brown with that fucking, like, ziggurat on his head.
Stupid Tetris hair.
Step pyramid going on. Tight end Julius Thomas practiced fully on Wednesday and is going up against the Bears, which are not that great against the tight end this year. He's available in a third of leagues, and Jacksonville is basically Allen Robinson and Julius Thomas, and I guess Blake Bortles' arm, unless, of course, you count the sentient teratoma named TJ Yeldon. as a weapon, which I do not, because I do not recognize teratomas as people. You know what a teratoma is?
I don't. What is a teratoma?
It's a tumor that grows teeth and hair.
And this is from a comic book, or this is a thing?
Oh, this is a real thing. What? No. You could, people grow them. It's cancer.
Cancer that eats you.
Well, it doesn't eat you. It doesn't have jaws and musculature. It just grows teeth, as a stem cells for teeth and hair.
God's
That's
perfect
what
plan.
TJ Yeldon is.
Intelligent design.
But he's a person. Yeah. Yep. Take a sip. It's like a Kermit meme.
Yeah. That's intelligent design. Guys, a tight end that I'm taking, and see, the thing with Julius Thomas is, for me, Jake, I picked him up during our draft just because, hey, he's a name, he's somebody you want to look at. Yeah. God, I just don't trust him week to week, because he might go out there and have 7 receptions for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Hey, preach to the choir, but I have Jordan Reed, okay? And this is my shot, okay? Like who else is available in our league right now? Dwayne Allen is the next best, and in most leagues, Dwayne Allen's the next best, who only owned in 44% of leagues.
I'll tell you.
But going up against Houston, who is second best against tight ends, Dwayne Allen doesn't get a ton of targets. And by the way, Julius Thomas had 11 catches on 18 targets through the first 3 games. It took Dwayne Allen 4.5 games to get to those targets. So.
Yeah. Also, somebody who, and this one is a little cheating depending on when you're listening to this. A week ago, Martellus Bennett was available in 45% of leagues. Today, he's available in maybe 14. So you need to hop on right now. Martellus Bennett has become a real threat there. I said a couple of weeks ago he was going to be a secret stash because Gronk was going to end up hurting himself again, whether that happens in week 6 or week 16.
And I added on to that because Aaron Hernandez was fine in that system.
Yeah.
Before he shot that guy.
He was still okay even after he shot him a little while. Remember, there were 2 sets. Remember, there was the cleaning crew and then the guy.
Right. There's the charge, and then there's the conviction.
There you go.
The in between is when he was doing fine.
Yeah, he was great. If Martellus Bennett would just kill a couple of people this week, I swear to God, he'll catch 8 touchdowns in the next 2 weeks. Martellus Bennett is a guy that he needs to be owned in every single league. Like I said, there's been a 26% uptick for him in the last week after the guy caught 3 touchdowns. That's not going away. If you take a look at him all year, people, he's catching 5 and 6 balls a game. He's going out there. He's been over 100 yards twice. He's scored 4 touchdowns on the year so far. He has become Tom Brady's most consistent and best target. The guy is catching 80% of what's thrown his way, so he's making great usage of that. He's being targeted on 31% of his... He's a third of their targets right now. The guy has become a legitimate target for Tom Brady week in and week out.
It's him, Edelman, Gronk, and then sometimes Chris Hogan for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And then when Deion Lewis comes back, Tom Brady's going to throw 500 yards a game. It's going to be crazy.
You say that, and I think Deion Lewis is a guy who you definitely need to play this week because Cincinnati,
Deion Lewis is in. It'd be George.
You're right. That's right. It'll be week 7.
It'd be James White.
LeGarrette Blount is a guy you've got to play this weekend also against Cincinnati because after we saw what Ezekiel Elliott was able to do, LeGarrette Blount should be able to do half of what he did, and if he does that, he's still going to score 20 points for you.
I also like James White. I like every Patriot. Last week we said start all your Patriots. It probably worked out for you. At least it was a high floor.
I'm sure Mr. Patriot did really well.
Yeah, no shit. But yeah, Martellus Bennett also has really rad neck tats.
And he says fuck Jason Witten.
A lot
on this ESPN E60 special. He says fuck that guy.
Yeah.
And I agree. He's goofy looking. Like he would never say anything rude to you, but it's just like, man, you're goofy looking.
Pointy. He looks like a marsupial. Ugh, I don't like Jason Witten. Anyways,
you got a streaming defense.
Those half sleeves are played out, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta upgrade. To one sleeve, one full sleeve. Just take this one off and just put it up here, or like the Gronk arm brace, or even quarter sleeves that start at the shoulder and come down. But this that was early 2000s. You're out, man. Anyways, let's stream a defense. We're streaming the Eagles. They're playing the Redskins, and if they go out there without Jordan Reed, definitely stream. And the Redskins couldn't run the ball even if the end zone was filled with teenage girls and Subway Jared was their running back. Also, Darren Sproles might be able to run a punt back for you or something. I don't know. Just do it. Just trust me. Just do it.
Guys, here's my advice for the rest of the year. Doesn't matter who it is. If Miami is playing them, you start the opposing defense. That's what you do at this point.
It's a very good philosophy.
Miami's offense has fallen apart entirely. They are not talking about whether Matt Moore should be in the game at this point. They're talking about who they're going to be drafting. We're in week 6, and the Miami fans, I really want to get John on this past week. Hey, John, much love to you through the hurricane bullshit that you went through. I want to know who he wants as their quarterback, because it's going to be a rookie quarterback coming out of college, whether it's Brad Kaya or Deshaun Watson or whoever it may be.
I could see Watson there for sure.
But I love the story of Kaya. He's a Miami kid. He grew up in Miami, went to the University of Miami. Hometown guy, man. That'd be awesome. But regardless, if you're playing the Dolphins this week or any week, start whatever defense they're playing. That's right. If the Saints play the Dolphins this year, which they don't, but if they did, you pick up the Saints defense. You do
Jarvis Landry alone would Julio Jones.
Jarvis Landry is going to catch 97 balls for 8 yards, okay? Ryan Tannehill dumps the ball off to him, and he gets 4 inches at a time. So he's PPR gold, but he's not finding the end zone so far this year, and he's not finding big gains for 25 yards at a time.
Trade your Sterling Shepard for him.
We'll talk.
Sweet. Secret stash time. What's in the secret stash? It's where we keep weed and also players.
You've made that joke before. You can't do that.
Okay, well, fuck it. Do we want to go harder drugs? It's where I keep my meth. I mainline it while I babysit.
I don't think people that do meth really bother even hiding it, because they don't care.
They're just like, I don't know, I got meth now.
They don't give a fuck. They do it right away. It's not like you keep it for later. Like, they're doing it immediately.
Right, it's like Taco Bell. You don't take that home. You get it in the car before anyone can see you eat it. Anyways, secret stash. My first secret stash is actually, you went Fozzy Whittaker earlier. I'm going Cameron Artis-Payne. And I know Jonathan Stewart's coming back. For some fucking reason, Cameron Artis-Payne's making a second appearance on here. The man just scored 24 fantasy points last week. Not altogether. Last week against the Bucks. I'm getting very frustrated with you people. Anyways, Jonathan Stewart's coming back, but he's returning from a hamstring, and it's probably a week too early. They're kind of pressing right now. He's probably going to be limited in touches, and they're playing the fucking Saints, who would have a better chance of stopping a run play if their defensive line consists just of 4 retarded kids from the local YMCA daycare. Don't make me fucking tell you again. Does the YMCA take the retardeds? Okay. I'm gonna
TJ Yeldon, his ownership percentage has continued to fall. He's scoring over 14 points a game right now in PPR leagues. I want to die. Put him in your. What do we do? Put it in your butt. What is this? The stash? Whatever. Put it in your.
It's not the drug mule. It's the secret stash.
Your meth box.
This is long after the mule phase of drug.
Oh, okay. So this is at the consumption part.
Yeah, we're
okay.
It's consumption. This is like the fridge. Like if you bought pizza, you might eat a slice and then you stick it in the fridge.
I've never understood that. Eat your fucking pizza. If you weren't hungry
in the morning.
No, but that's the thing. It's so much better when you get it. If you couldn't handle a large, don't order the large. Get the medium.
Okay, hold on. I will agree with you. It is very, very good. Pizza is at its best, of course. Hot out the box, right when you get it, or better yet, at the pizza place, right out the fucking oven. That's great. That's fantastic. I agree with you 100%. But if you're drinking and eating pizza, and it's like, even if it was sitting at room temperature all night long, you wake up, you're a little hungover, lukewarm, hard, like the oil has settled into these orange patches on top of the cheese. Oh, yeah.
You know what my food is for that? Is spaghetti. I love spaghetti. That's a day old.
I get it.
I love day old spaghetti.
Like on a piece of white bread.
It's anything with tomatoes in it is going to do that. Anything that's tomato based is going to do that. Yeah, guys. TJ Yeldon, he continues to drop in ownership throughout leagues, and I do not understand why. The guy has been consistent. He's a quality backup flex player for you right now. You know, I mean, are you going to start him over in even though Ezekiel Elliott is going up against probably the hardest run defense in the NFL right now, which is a little fuzzy because people are not running the ball against the Packers not because they can't, it's because they're getting down in games so quickly. It's sort of like what's going on with the Lions. On paper, the Lions' rush defense looks really good. No, it's just that they're getting ahead in games, so people are having to throw to catch up to them. TJ Yeldon, he should be on somebody's roster, and he's available in 21% of leagues right now. Pick him up.
My next one, gotta be, again, making a second appearance. Eddie Royal is only owned in 41.8% of leagues, and this is a fucking disaster. This is the 9/11 of fantasy oversights, okay? He's 18th. He's the 18th ranked wide receiver. 18th.
Do it. Do it.
I've maintained uncomfortable eye contact for like 45 seconds.
Yeah, I've already looked at Skype to see if you froze. Yeah, that was me checking to see if you'd frozen up.
No, I just want to make sure that I look.
You have gotten the point across. Yeah, Eddie Royal. There's no reason that he shouldn't be owned.
They had plenty of time to go to their fucking, like, just open another tab and go pick him up. Like, it takes no time at all. I don't know what your deal is.
No, I might go pick him up in our league right now.
Yeah, you could. Is he available?
I probably won't.
I don't think he's available. No, Eddie Royal is picked up as of right now.
Stupid Randers.
He wasn't when we started this, by the way. When we started recording this, he was available.
Did you just pick him up?
No, it was Ryan. Ryan's an asshole.
Stupid
Fuck you, Ryan.
Yeah, for real. You
Adderall, Ryan.
Riddlin' Rylan. Riddlin' Rylan. That's his name.
I think they're really good at throwing the ball, which is when a quarterback takes a snap and then he cocks his arm back and releases a ball with a spiral towards a player who is eligible to receive, and then they are awarded points based on yards and receptions.
Disc
golf.
Golf.
If you're fortunate, they'll get a touchdown.
Disc golf.
Disc golf. I hope Ryan watches this show.
He doesn't, or else he wouldn't be winless in our league.
Ooh, snap! Moving on. What's your next one?
Guys, I don't understand what has happened here. It doesn't make any sense, but for some reason, Allen Hurns continues to drop down. He continues to drop down in ownership. He's fallen 15 points here in the last 2 weeks. There's no reason that Allen Hurns shouldn't be on somebody's roster. In every league, he's on waivers. I've got a waiver wire. I've got a flyer in to pick him up, or waiver whatever claim to pick him up right now in our league. Yeah, has he had 2 bad weeks in a row? He sure has. But he has been Blake Bortles' most consistent target. Allen Robinson hasn't been getting the job done for them either. The Jaguars are at a point where they are going to have to try and save Gus Bradley's job. They're going to be airing the ball out. Allen Hurns, fantastic guy to hold on to, especially for later in the year, because I think the Jags are going to be making a push at the end of the season, because the AFC South is wide open. I can't tell you who's going to have. I thought the Colts would be undefeated at this point, because I thought Andrew Luck was going to come out there like a god king. He was going to come out there like Xerxes and destroy. He was going to come out like Xerxes and destroy the NFL. No, it has not been the case. His kidneys have not fully healed, or whatever it was that was wrong. His kidneys or his vulva or whatever it was that was injured. It isn't back up to snuff. Allen Hurns is going to be a good playoff play for you later on in the year.
Cool, man.
That's all right. The stashes that I have.
I have one more. My last secret stash of the day is Jameis Winston, who is on a bye week this week, is only owned in half of ESPN leagues, but I want you to look at this schedule. His next matchup after the bye week, San Francisco, Oakland, Atlanta, Chicago, Kansas City. One bad game against Seattle, San Diego, New Orleans, Dallas, New Orleans. You heard me. During your playoff run, he plays San Diego, Dallas, and then New Orleans twice. He will win you your league. Just stop pussyfooting around. I should not have to mention Jameis Winston again on this show unless he's a lock of the week.
If Jameis Winston and Brandon Hoyer are mentioned outside of our
Who's Brandon
locks,
Hoyer?
Brian Hoyer.
Brian's Herb's palsy cousin that he brings along so he can.
What is Herb's palsy? Bell's palsy?
No, Herb's palsy is he's like a gimpy arm.
Oh.
Like you come out weird.
Oh well, that's Bell's palsy too.
Right, but it's different. I don't know, Herb's palsy. This one's seasoned. I don't know how it works. I don't know how palsy works. I just know it fucks you up. It makes you.
Yeah, Hoyer and Winston are two guys that we shouldn't be talking about in our pickups anymore. Come on, guys, get your shit together.
Now we move on to the positivity for the week, the locks of the week. This is one of my favorite parts of the episode because most of the time we're talking about dead babies or 9/11 or AIDS or
positive things.
Patrick's facial hair situation. But no, now we get to talk happiness. My first lock of the week is quarterback Cameron J. Newton. If he plays against the Saints, which it looks like he will. Remember what I said about the retarded kids on the defensive line earlier? Just imagine them going up against black and recently unconcussed Superman. It's going to be a fucking shit show. The Saints score a ton of points on offense as well, so you're looking at probably a 4-touchdown game from Cam Newton this week. 4. Because all he has to do is sit back there. Greg Olson last week, career high in receiving yards with Derek Anderson. Come on.
You know, my thing with Cam Newton, and I was really hoping that he would come up because I wanted to have this discussion. I don't know if I trust him yet. He hasn't done anything yet this season to make me say, okay, he's still a QB1 for us. And that team is falling apart right now. They are spiraling out of control.
Before last week, he was the number 4 wide receiver, but he
quarterback.
Four wide receiver. He was probably the 5th wide receiver. He was the 4th quarterback.
Hasn't done anything for me to say.
Week 1, he had 18 fantasy points. Week 2, he had 32.5. He had one bad game against Minnesota, who's the best team in the league, and then he got concussed against Atlanta and still scored 14.5 points in half a game.
And then also, and that's the other thing, coming off of a concussion, him and Carson Palmer. I don't know if I trust him yet this early.
Oh, Cam. I do not expect the Cam Newton thing to be running on the ground a ton against New Orleans, but then he's got his bye. But they need a win. They're playing Cam Newton, and they're airing that shit out. I mean, he's actually got weapons. I think we're all surprised. And keep in mind, that isn't a shutdown defense anymore. They have to air it out. They got Corey Brown, Ted Ginn, even Devin Funchess is a decent option. I mean, he's not a fantasy volume guy, but in real life football, I mean, he's a humongous guy. Kelvin Benjamin, of course. What is he? 6'5", 6'4"? He's humongous. He's catching tons of touchdowns. It's got to happen. Greg Olson, of course. You get Jonathan Stewart back. Fozzy Whittaker, we think, is going to have a lot of fun in the flats. Cameron Artis-Payne has showed that he can. This whole team's going to show up, man.
Jake, my lock of the week at quarterback.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if you've heard this news. There's news out of Pittsburgh this week.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Roethlisberger is officially considering changing his name to Matthew Roethlisberger because he is going to pound Miami harder than any hurricane ever could. We've seen Andy Dalton, the soulless ginger. We've seen Andy Dalton and A.J. Green, what they've been able to do. Antonio Browns and Sammy Coates on the other side lining up with Ben Roethlisberger against this piss-poor Miami defense. Ben might be benched by the second quarter. They may bench him. This might be University of Michigan versus Rutgers 2.0. We might get a replay of that. I wouldn't be surprised.
Did you see the sale that Ruth Chris did
The steakhouse, yeah, where whatever
steakhouse,
points they beat the other team by, they get that percentage off. So theoretically, they should have given 78% off to all of their customers this week. I think they capped it at like 50 or 54 or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, Miami is going to wish it got destroyed by Hurricane Matthew so that this game could have been postponed or canceled. This
as an Antonio Brown owner, very much looking forward to this game.
If you have anyone who plays for the Steelers, anybody, you start them right now. I'll put it this way. This game is going to be such a blowout. You start D'Angelo Williams in your league at a flex because they're going to take Le'Veon Bell out by the beginning of the fourth quarter because they're going to be up 42-10 and they're going to be looking to run out the clock at the end of the game, and they don't want to put Le'Veon Bell out there, so they're going to put D'Angelo Williams in for a quarter. He's going to rip off 70 yards and a touchdown and 4 receptions from Landry Jones. That's what's going to happen in this game. Hell, you might want to start the backup quarterback for the Steelers. You might want to start Landry Jones. That's how bad of a shit show this is going to be. Ben Roethlisberger, he's going to kill it. He may have the most points out of any position in fantasy this week.
Yeah, that's probably accurate. It's probably accurate. Cam might be number 2. Anyways, as far as my running backs, just whoever's starting for the Panthers is fine. But my wide receiver is John Brown against the New York Jets, assuming Carson Palmer plays, because if he does, we need to watch out for Darrelle Revis because he might be on suicide watch after this game. They're going to be on defense so often because they're either going to score right away and run the ball right down the fucking other side of the field, or they're going to get interceptions thrown and just get scored on immediately. It's going to be crazy.
Guys, my running back for the week has got to be a guy who I've actually been pretty critical of so far this year and who I thought has not lived up to the hype and thought maybe Joe Philbin knew a little bit more than the rest of us. Lamar Miller. He's going up against the Colts this week in Houston on Sunday night, and the Texans are reeling off of a horrific victory at the hands of the Vikings, and they are going to want to do 2 things. One, they're going to want to keep the ball out of Andrew Luck's hands because we all know that Andrew Luck can go out there and he can score 50 points on you in a game. It can happen. The other thing they're going to want to do, they're going to want to keep the ball out of their quarterback's hands, Brock Osweiler, because he does everything he can to piss the game away. I think Lamar Miller might touch the ball 25 times in this game, legitimately, and that's carries. He might still get another 4 or 5 receptions through the air. He might tote the rock 25 times in this game because they're going to want to control the pace of this game. They're going to want to be able to keep the ball out of Andrew Luck's hands and out of Bork Laser's hands. I think Lamar Miller is the start of the week. Colts right now are 29th in the league against the run. Got to start him. He is obviously, you start him every week, but he's my lock of the week.
Yeah, I actually really like that pick, especially because he's on my team. Bitch. You might as well tell me who you got at wide receiver as well, because my running back wasn't very in-depth.
Well, for my wide receiver, I mean, it's kind of funny what you could say about wide receivers. You kind of touched on it earlier. You start everybody, or we touched on it earlier. You start everybody who's playing for the Steelers, and I hate to do that. I hate to not mix it up a little bit. Antonio Brown, you got him, you start him. Sammy Coates, you got him, you start him. You start everybody who's associated with the Steelers right now. Everybody.
What about Marcus Wheaton? Is he playing? He should be playing, right?
Yeah, but I mean, in a third down position out of the flex.
I mean, he doesn't get a ton of targets. Jesse James.
I'd start Jesse James, absolutely. Caught a touchdown last week on a little 4-yard touchdown pass from Ben.
You sure did. Also, the number 11 tight end on the season. Not a lot of targets. He's more like Julius Thomas used to be, I think.
Yeah.
He's kind of touchdown dependent, but I mean, it's Miami. Yeah, I'd be comfortable starting Jesse James as well, especially in daily. He's probably dirt cheap. My defense is going to be the Bills against San Francisco. Now, Rob Ryan is going to use his wizard powers he derives from that hair, that big flowing hair, and then he's going to summon a great bald eagle, which will decapitate Colin Kaepernick by the afro. Rob will then kneel on the still warm chest of a recently deceased Kaepernick and start singing the Star-Spangled Banner Donald Trump will cry a single tear, and he will ascend towards heaven, the chosen one.
And then he'll complain about how much more luxurious Trump Tower is.
And then the Bills will win. They'll win that game. The Bills, by the way, not getting a lot of love. Number 2 fantasy defense. Number 2. Vikings are number 1. Just saying.
Guys, my defense this week is coming from a team that has really been disappointing on the offensive side of the ball this year, but has only been kept in games because of their defense, and that's the Cardinals. These guys right now are 4th in takeaways, and they're playing against the beard, the sentient beard that is Ryan Fitzpatrick this week, who does nothing but throw turnovers. I actually think that beard, we've talked about it in the past, how Drew Brees is like a Master Blaster situation. His body is just a dead husk, but that thing on his face is what controls him. I think the same is true. I think this. Oh, you know what it would be? His beard would walk up and say, "Who run Barbertown?" Yeah, there we go. Mad Max. Yeah, Mad Max jokes. That's topical.
That's good. Yeah,
that's topical.
Fury Road only came out 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't count. That's not real. That's just feminist propaganda. No, guys, start the Cardinals this week against the Jets. They're going to absolutely destroy this. They're going to be able to control the pace of this game with David Johnson has emerged as the best. Him and Ezekiel Elliott are the 2 best running backs in fantasy football right now. They're going to be able to control the pace of this game all day. They're going to keep Fitzpatrick off the field. They're going to keep him throwing the ball, and he's going to make mistakes. Cardinals, take him.
I actually disagree. I think Jordan Howard has turned into the best fantasy running back. But we will see how long that lasts because Chicago I think maybe it's the stability that the idea of the Cardinals give you over the idea that Chicago gives you.
Okay.
Right? Because the Cardinals, we're like, oh yeah, the Cardinals. Of course they're good. But Jordan Howard has 2 back-to-back 100-yard games. I mean, he only had 16 rushes last week, 118 yards. That's craziness. That's just insane. And then he also had 3 catches, 45 yards for a touchdown. Ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Anyways, busts of the week. We're down to
bust of the week.
This is going to be depressing. I actually have more than one. How many do you have? Just the one?
Oh, I was gonna do. I have 2 of them.
Okay, I have 3, so that's fine.
Well,
that's
here
fine.
I can research one while you're going. Go.
Well, you don't even have to. Okay, fine. It doesn't have to be.
Just talk.
It doesn't have to be equal.
I'll babble about some. Hey, I think Dante Hall is gonna have a pretty weak. I think he's gonna have a pretty weak game. Yeah, his return game is pretty weak. Yeah, he hadn't returned a touchdown in 12 years. All
right, I'm sorry to do this to you people, because you're probably this may be your first year in a fantasy league. Maybe you joined with your work buddies and you just kind of fell on Matt Ryan, and it turned out to work out great for you. You felt great. My first fantasy league, I had Jamal Charles. I ended up with Doug Martin in his rookie year, who just ran all over the goddamn place. I ended up with all sorts of really great people. I got auto drafted. I felt like a goddamn genius. Don't feel like a genius. Don't feel like a genius. Matt Ryan's the bust of the week for the 2nd week in a row. Bust of the week. Now this doesn't mean he's going to be the worst quarterback of the week. I don't think that. I mean, I believe they're playing Seattle. But last week he was the 2nd lowest scoring quarterback within the top 10.
So he was number 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
What? Okay.
I mean, you just went all algebra on our fans there. I mean, maybe they don't.
They can't.
You went all word problem.
Word problem. I'm just saying, man. For the price you're paying for him in daily, or maybe I don't know. Just bench him and go with a streaming option. Seattle is the number 1 ranked defense. And granted, they played Miami, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and the New York Giants. So that's not a great sample size, but they're still the Seahawks. And they're still good. And
they're coming off a bye, so they're well rested. They're healed up. The Legion of Boom is there. Here's my only counter to that. I agree with you. I agree that Matt Ryan is going to be a bust this week, and I don't think that he's going to be a guy if you know what, if you've got a Brian Hoyer or somebody like that, if you've got a Carson Wentz or somebody like that as your backup, throw them out there instead, or a Jameis Winston, like you mentioned earlier. That being said, I still think that you can't not start Julio Jones. You've still got to put him out there because you never know, he might go for that 80-yard bomb. So you can't not start Julio Jones. You can't not start Devontae Freeman because he's still going to catch 7 dump-off passes from Matt Ryan. The one guy there that I see who could really get some play this week is Matt Bryant, their kicker. That's the guy who I think is going to that's the guy who I think is really going to get some play out of that. But yeah, I agree. Matt Ryan's not the guy who you want to start this week. For me, my quarterback that I see being an absolute bust this week is going to be Andy Dalton. The Patriots, we saw him last week against the Cowboys, and that was the Cowboys secondary, which admittedly is better than we thought it would be. It's still not particularly good. Andy Dalton against this Patriots secondary and this Patriots pass rush, which where did this thing come from? Where was this a year ago? This Patriots pass rush has finally... you know what it is? Jake thought he was a Patriots fan. He wasn't a Lions fan. He thought he was he was watching Patriots games. That's what it was.
Ziggy Ansah got hurt. He had 14.5 sacks last year. And I thought DeAndre Levy's hip was uninfected. Apparently I was wrong, okay? But Darius Slay had 2 turnovers caused last week. Still great. Just throwing that out there.
Andy Dalton, bust of the week for me.
Andy Dalton's always a bust of the week. He's garbage. Fuck you, Andy Dalton. God, he's good. Why is he good? It doesn't make sense.
I hate him. He shouldn't be good. He shouldn't be good.
He's got bad hair.
He's got great hair. It's just a bad color.
It looks greasy all the time.
I didn't mean it like that.
I definitely meant it like that. My next bust
all hair matters
of the week, Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, he's going to run into the great white hope known as Clay Matthews, effectively ending his career. Years later, he'll be spotted in a South Georgia Waffle House pissing on himself and talking into a payphone that hasn't been connected to a landline since Bill Clinton shot a load onto Monica Lewinsky's second chin.
Is that a Beautiful Mind reference, or
Beautiful Mind?
Or is that just South Georgia?
No, this is all based on a true story. I was driving down to Florida in like 2008, and in South Georgia I stopped at a Waffle House at 3 a.m. and there was a homeless guy on the floor talking on a phone that was not connected to the wall receiver. And it was a payphone. And even in 2008, we're like, weird, payphones? So, yeah. It's from experience. But yeah, I don't think Ezekiel Elliott's gonna have a very good game. They're gonna be behind a lot.
Guys, my sit of the week is the same guy who it was last week at the running back position. My bust of the week is gonna be Isaiah Crowell again from the Browns. The Browns are going to be in a position where the Titans are controlling games right now with DeMarco Murray. They are controlling the pace of games, and when they're doing that, Marcus Mariota can actually have a semblance of quarterback play and can actually look like he plays the position. I think the Browns are going to be down early in this one. I think that they're going to be doing the same thing they did last week. They're going to have to be throwing the ball. Hugh Jackson is not going to want to give up. He's not going to want to roll over and die, and he's going to want to rally his troops. They're going to be throwing the ball. Cody Kessler might throw the ball 60 goddamn times in this game. Isaiah Crowell, bad play this week. Total bust.
He's a bad play until week
9.
16. I like him against San Diego. I don't like him. Like, you should have sold high. We should have really talked about the sells last week. We should have told you to sell Isaiah Crowell. I didn't even think about it because he just plays for Cleveland, which is basically garbage. So
isn't it amazing how Cleveland at this point, how the Indians are the Indians are on fire. The Cavs are the world champions, and then there's the Browns. God, that's depressing.
Yeah, that's bad. They should. Does Baltimore have room for another team?
I wouldn't send someone to. I wouldn't send my worst enemy to Baltimore.
Just let it happen twice. Maybe it could be the Baltimore Ray Lewises.
What would they wear? Like, would they wear white pants and white shirts?
No, they
just smear some red on it.
Bulletproof vests underneath Miami jerseys. Anyways, my last bust of the week was you talked about it. Julio Jones, because you got to start him. You can't not start Julio fucking Jones. The upside's obviously there. I just don't see it happening, man. I just don't see it. He's gonna break your heart. Don't do it, Lou. I'm sorry. Sorry. You're going against. This is your rivalry week. This week in our league, we have rivalry weeks. I strongly suggest those. By the way, middle of the season gets way more interesting.
It doesn't.
You have you're all in on the fucking Falcons. You have Tevin Coleman, Freeman, and Julio Jones all on your team.
Hey, Tevin Coleman is the number 9 ranked, and Dante Freeman's the number 8. I mean, what do? You can't not have those guys. You've got.
No, I understand. I'm just saying you got a bad matchup in your one rivalry week.
I've already played him once this year. It doesn't matter.
No, this is the one that counts. We all played our rivals the first week. It's fine.
Okay, well, guys, defense bust of the week for me this week. The Chiefs defense, we saw how badly they got thrashed. Well, and they are getting turnovers though. They are in the top third in the league in takeaways.
But Oakland,
they are going up against what they are so good at is not pass defense. What they are so good at is run defense. Tell that to Le'Veon Bell and D'Angelo Williams. They are so good against defending the run. Guess what we talked about earlier? We don't know if Latavius Murray is alive or dead. We don't know if he's in somebody's basement chained up or not because he doesn't need to be at the games because Derek Carr is slinging the ball out there like he's Joe Montana mixed with Peyton Manning into some weird experiment that Cobra Commander came up with. So he also has Cobra DNA, by the way. So the Raiders are out there and they're throwing the ball all around the park, and the Chiefs are not doing particularly well right now in the secondary. Guys, bust of the week. You cannot start the Chiefs. I know it's tempting with the amount of takeaways they get. You can't start them.
Yeah, even though Carr throws off his back foot like a weirdo, he's got the weirdest shaped arms too. It's like
we talked about the symmetricalness of his head, right? The symmetry of his head.
It's like he rents Matthew McConaughey's arms on game day. So he has these little tiny, really thick forearm T-Rex things going on, and he's tossing them out there. And it doesn't help that he wears the forearm bands to accentuate it. It's not a good look. Again, forearm bands are out. Allen Iverson hasn't played in years. It's fine. We can take the forearm bands off. You also don't need calf sleeves.
I've been wearing calf sleeves before anybody paid me to. I just thought they felt cool.
All right, man. You know what? Live your life, but they can't. They are in the NFL and must do what we say.
That's
also,
it.
By the way, the Raiders statistically are the literal worst case if you're a fantasy defense. Worst case. They are number 1 against fantasy defenses. They're not necessarily the best. They are shredding it, man. I mean, they score a shit ton of touchdowns, bro.
And you know what the worst part is? Every team in the NFL had a chance to take him. Every single team.
Yep.
First pick of the second round. Everybody had a shot. Nobody wanted
that's okay. We have a quarterback. I'm fine with that. I don't think he'd be doing any better than Stafford at this point. But a lot of people want to jump on the DeAndre Washington train. I don't know. Doesn't look like he's getting he was splitting carries with Jalen Richard. I don't know if I like that. I would stay away from that backfield altogether. That out there.
You know who everybody's talking about this week on all the shows, all the talking heads that aren't as qualified as us, is Devontae Booker, backup for the Denver Broncos behind C.J. Anderson.
I don't understand that. I know he's been gaining touches every week.
The most he's touched the ball is 7 times, and that was against Tampa Bay.
9 in week 2 against Indianapolis.
Oh, I see. Yeah, 9 against.
But last week, he just caught the ball 4 times. He only has 2 receptions for the whole rest of the season, and it was against Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't understand where this is coming from. C.J. Anderson is going to go out, and in fact, if I hadn't have made my lock of the week earlier that I already had, my other lock of the week would have been C.J. Anderson. This Chargers defense is pathetic. They're going to go out there on Thursday night. They're not really sure what their quarterback situation is right now with Paxton Lynch and Trevor Siemian, so I think they're going to be leaning on their run game really heavily, and I think C.J. Anderson might tote the rock 22, 23 times. He's going to go over 100 yards.
He's averaging about 3 catches a game. I mean, he had 2 stretches there where he only caught 1 ball each. But
Anderson?
Yeah, he's gotten in the end zone 4 times this year.
Yeah, he's
so. I got to stick with CJ.
Yeah, you can't not play the guy. I mean, CJ Anderson, you've got to play him. And like I said, especially against this really, 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 really poor run defense from the Chargers. You got to play him.
Devontae Booker, this was his first time in double-digit fantasy points, and that's only in PPR leagues. If you're playing a standard league, he got you 5 points. This isn't good. In week number 1, he had negative 0.5 points in our league. I can't go Devontae Booker. If CJ Anderson goes down, then I'm thinking Booker because there's nobody fucking else there. Andy Janovich? Isn't he a fullback? Yeah, not happening. So,
he sounds like a Russian astronaut. That doesn't even sound like...
It'd be Dmitry Janovich.
Oh, Dmitry, yeah.
Dmitry Janovich. Vodka make you strong like bull. But, anyways.
Bear.
Like bear. Make you strong like grizzly bear.
Like Zangief.
Are those scars or is that hair?
Those are scars. He has scars on his body from fighting bears. He wrestles bears.
Is he Putin?
No.
Oh. Well. Anyways, Putin's got he's got that Alex Jones barrel chest thing going on. It's super weird.
Goblin blood. Catch him in bed with a goblin.
Anyways, that's the end of the show. Let us know where you think we're wrong, where you think we're right, which is more likely. Let us know how our fantasy advice has been going for you so far. I think I've only had one major fuck up. I think that was the Cam Newton lock of the week when he got concussed. So that wasn't my fault. He was playing fine. Just throwing that out there. Not my fault. We abstain from injuries. We get to pass for that shit. Anyways, for Lou, I'm Jake. This is Fantasy Review with Jake and Lou. That's the title. I'm first.